From Cali to Tally, it's time to wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, and this is Wake Up War Chant. Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hudjavandi and Corey Clark.
What up, everybody? Showtime. It's Wake Up War Chant. I'm Aslan. He is Corey Clark. Follow the show on the Twitter machine. Wake Up War Chant. It's all one word. If you're here for basketball, hang tight. It's going to be a minute. We're going to get to the Renegade Express questions, and then we'll wrap things up with thoughts on the basketball game, Florida State's contest against Miami. Also, a look ahead to later this week, and by later this week, I mean tomorrow. We're going to have one final show for the week on Friday. We'll actually work for you. We're just going to do, I think we're going to just have an interview with Terrell Buckley. T-Buck, as some of you folks know. Corey and I, we'll sit down with him. We'll talk to him. I'll see if maybe we can get him hired. I'll try.
We're going to try our best, aren't we?
We're going to try our darndest. That's what we're going to do. Corey, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing?
Good, man. We're in the Midtown offices. It's always good when we are able to sit down here and make eye contact and talk and
I agree.
See things.
I agree. We need to do this more often.
Yeah.
A little you and me time.
Yeah. But we're going to do the Renegade Express stuff. But before we get to the questions there, you all right there, bud?
Yeah, I'm trying to get – do I sound all right? I was trying to get it right in front of my mouth.
You sound great, but when you touch your microphone like that, it does not sound great.
All right.
You're good now.
I don't need any notes from you. Let's just do our radio show. My apologies, listeners. I was trying to make sure you could hear my sultry sounds.
You're
better.
You're so bossy now, Corey. Let's talk a little bit about quarterbacks, Corey. First, apparently this is I don't know. I mean, he's a grad transfer, so I don't know why this is such a big deal. But Jalen Hurts put his name into the portal on Wednesday afternoon, or at least it was reported that he put his name into the portal on Wednesday afternoon. Jalen Hurts.
It'd be bigger news if Tua did.
Yeah, right. Well, that was a really solid tweet by you, by the way, during the national title game. Like maybe Tua's going to transfer to Florida State.
Yeah, when they put Hurts in the fourth quarter.
As it stands right now, again, Deondre Francois is still part of the program. Apparently, maybe he is not ready to be a grad transfer if he wants to leave yet, Deondre, but we don't know the full details on that. But in terms of Jalen Hurts, there's going to be competition for him.
Sure.
I guess naturally. Miami is a team out there that apparently he's been communicating with, which is kind of a bummer. Like, why'd go to Miami? They kind of got their ducks in a row. What do you sell if you're Florida State to him? I think the Kendall Briles hire is a really good thing. Because, again, like I said, I think, with Avarian Hurts, Jalen's father being a longtime high school coach in the state of Texas, he's well aware of the Briles family and what they're able to do on a football field. So I think that bodes really well for their chances. But I know there's a lot of folks out there that think maybe Oklahoma's going to try to sneak in there and grab him as a stopgap. With Kyler Murray, obviously, heading to either the Major League draft or the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about Jalen Hurts, I think he would be an upgrade over what Florida State had last year, obviously, because he can move. He's a dynamic running threat. But he's not an NFL quarterback. He's not a good thrower of the football. He's not a program changer. You're getting 1 year of a guy that can run. I mean, that's what you're getting. So I don't, now I'm at the point where I'm like, I know he played really well against Georgia, but, you saw how he was. I guess he only got the one possession at the Clemson game because Clemson ran off the last 8.5 minutes of the clock.
Amazing.
They went from the 1 to the 3, and then the game ended. It was nuts. But you kind of saw when Clemson was all over him. Well, he does what quarterbacks do when they don't have an offensive line that can block the guys in front of them. He kind of curled up and didn't do anything. So, I just wonder, is he that big a deal? I mean, you talk about Oklahoma. Think about the step down Oklahoma would be taking from Baker Mayfield to Kyler Murray, who are two of the better quarterbacks of the last decade probably in college football, to that dude who can run. I don't know, man. He's better than Kelly Bryant, but I think it's just because of that name and his quote-unquote win-loss record, which, come on, man. How many of those games could you have quarterbacked them to a win? At least 90% of the ones he did. Yeah. Right? You could have handed it off.
I got a good arm, man. I got a live arm.
Well, they're gonna bring the safeties up because they're gonna dare you to throw, and you'll go over to the top to 4 or 6 or whoever you need to throw to. Jerry Jeudy, he can get open.
And when we're between the 40s, like I like to call it the 40-40 principle.
Right. That's when you do your double move.
Yeah.
Guys, you keep listening this week, you're gonna know all about the 40-40 principle. Which I came kind of close, but that makes sense. When you're around midfield, you're more apt to take a shot. But yeah, so Jalen Hurts, it's not a program wrecker if he doesn't come. Mm-hmm. It's a nice boost, but this dude he's a championship caliber quarterback when he's playing with a bunch of great guys around him. He's not going to lift this program up to incredible heights. He'll be able to run for 60 yards a game, which last year, I think that's probably the difference in one game.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing was the quote silver bullet of getting a quarterback transfer. I thought was a lot more sort of a practical solution for this team than trying to get a whole bunch of good offensive linemen and trying to, get a top-notch offensive coordinator. But then little did we realize that they were going to be swimming in these waters and going after the big fish like a Kendall Briles. And I mean, my whole thing was if it's going to be Willie's sort of offense, if Willie's going to bring in another sort of Walt Bell guy, well, we saw how good Willie was when he had a dynamic running quarterback like a Quentin Flowers who was not particularly accurate as a passer. I'm like, oh, yeah, definitely bring in Jalen Hurts. But if it's going to be a guy like Briles, he just had so many different kinds of quarterbacks everywhere he's been. It just seems like he'll figure out a way to make it work. So like you said, it won't crush any sort of hope that Florida State had in the transfer market.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest acquisition, obviously, for this offense is Briles. That's a lot bigger than losing Sam Howell, maybe not getting Jalen Hurts, getting Devin Travis's brother.
Are you gonna? Is like the second thing you do every Saturday, like after you're done filing your Florida State game, is going to be look at the box score for
Sam
Howell.
I'm excited, man. More than anything, I want to see. Again, he might win 2 Heismans. I don't know. I doubt it. But I want to see because again the offense that we thought they'd be running, it's going to be different now with Briles, was going to be a lot of we thought, man, the quarterback's got to be a threat to run the ball, and I just don't see it with that kid. So if I'm looking at the box score and he had 8 rushes for -2 yards, all right, man, I don't think Sam Howell is going to make a huge difference at Florida State, no matter what he's throwing for. But again, he might be the next I don't know, Aaron Rodgers.
We got a really long day and night because of the Miami-Florida State game tipping off at 9 o'clock. I don't want to dive too far into this, but apparently earlier, Francois actually posted on his Instagram that he is coming back to Florida State. This is going to get awkward?
Yeah. It's a weird deal, man. It's a weird deal between, just because I don't think the fan base is all fired up about him.
Like scholarships are 1-year renewable sort of contracts between the school and the player, and they've given him 4 years. I mean, I don't know if they're – again, this all comes back to my fact that they were so staunchly in this kid's corner. Like how – again, this is a lot of conjecture. There's a lot of sources.
It's a lot of speculation too, yeah.
It's crazy to think that they stood so firmly in his corner 5 months ago, and then now it's kind of like, well, hey, man, can you just kind of maybe go somewhere else? Like, well –
Again, it's not complete speculation because we did ask Willie back in whenever that was, the middle of December.
Yeah.
And he even said, signing day, and he even said he's weighing his options, which that's almost always 99% means, okay, he's bouncing, he's gone. That's the reality.
Coaches usually don't tell that their guys are thinking of leaving,
and then they come back. Yeah, I mean, you don't once that's said, once that's out in the world, you can't unring that bell. So. It's really interesting, man. We'll see. Again, it doesn't mean he'll be here in August if he's here in April, but maybe he will be, along with Jalen Hurts and Jordan Travis and James Blackman.
Everybody come get your son, man. Do you hear that in the distance? Or do you hear that? You hear something?
It sounds like it's coming up on us, yeah. Oh, here come the ponies.
Let's go, man. Time for the Renegade Express. All these questions come from our subscribers on warchant.com. If you're not a member, it's never too late. Just go ahead and use the promo code WARCHANT30, get 30 free days of access, and you can join the family. And you probably won't leave. I need to pull this up real quick on the Twitter machine. Shout out to where is he at? I think he actually did. He tweeted. He tweeted at us, did he not? Curly J 86 on Twitter. Follow him. He looks like a good guy. Basically said, okay, you guys win. I signed up for War Chant. Thank you. You guys do a great job selling it on the podcast. I'm definitely glad I signed up.
That's more money for me. That's more money from my pocket, Curly J. I appreciate that.
Let's go.
Aslan, you get a handshake, a healthy handshake. But that's big-time stuff, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the new subscribers that we've driven to War Chant in flocks, really. Because you get this in written form on the site.
Yeah, and there'll be a video chat later today with myself and Michael Langston, a recruiting chat. It'll be live streaming on YouTube. It's a video thing that we're doing. Embrace the future, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing. Anyhow, moving on. First question. Iowa Knoll 1. Originally from a small town of 310 people in Iowa, so no one famous from our hometown.
Oh.
This is crazy. Some person in a little small town in Iowa with a population of 301.
Who's a War Champ subscriber.
Crazy, this world, man. Coach Sue Semmerau, has done an amazing job building up the women's basketball program, but the last few years it seems like our bench is short. Is this a result of transfers, injuries, or recruiting misses?
Is this our first women's basketball question?
It is.
Of the Renegade Express?
Congratulations, Iowa 01.
Yeah, I think she's the complete, and she has been. And finally, we get to unleash our women's basketball knowledge, our prowess. She's been completely opposite of Leonard. Like, Leonard loves to rotate 11 or 12 guys. Sue will usually have about 7 women, not guys,
correct,
that she plays. This year, they were hurt by an injury to their superstar, incoming McDonald's All-American freshman. She tore her knee up, a point guard who's like a little Pete Maravich, really. It's pretty incredible, the stuff she does. I can't remember where she's from. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's usually she has about 8 this year. The last 2 years, because of injuries and really just a couple of injuries, and then maybe some players not panning out, she's kept it at about 6 or 7 where she'll rotate.
Nicoletti.
Yeah, she's real. Where's she from? Does it say where she's from originally?
She's
what country?
Sao Paulo, Brazil.
There you go, Brazilian. Got some flair to her too. So she's gonna be fun to watch when she gets healthy. And they're aren't they like 13-1 or 12-1 or something? Like, this was supposed to be a rebuilding year, and they just won 2 games on the road, including at North Carolina. And I think they're 12-1.
14-1.
They're 14-1, ranked in the top 20, and they're around the top 20. And this is supposed to be a rebuilding year. Sue's just got it. She's got it wired over there, man.
Right. I asked Uncle Ira about this because Ira is the guru when it comes to women's basketball.
I feel like I just did
a hell of a job.
Couldn't remember her name, but
that was really good. But yeah, he was mentioning the fact that she also swims in the transfer waters a lot, and and you're gonna have to wait for them to get cleared. Obviously, they're not immediately eligible. And then, like to your point also as well, just carries a shorter amount of roster for whatever reason. She doesn't use the full complement of scholarships.
And they've always got a couple sitting out that are going to be playing the next year. In fact, as far as I can remember, this seems like the only time that maybe Tony Douglas. I can't remember if he had to sit out or not. But Leonard's got a guy, the Malik Osborne kid from Rice, that he swears is going to be he's really impressed by.
That's
him.
a really good name. I like
Malik
that name.
Osborne's a great name.
Yeah.
And he's he's one of those angry basketball players, which Florida State always needs. But this is the only time I can remember in like the last decade where Leonard's had one of those transfer people sitting out that's biding his time to be their next D1 transfer anyway.
Yeah. All right, Bimini Bound. First off, what are all these fish in your avatar, guy? I mean, you just took like an entire sea, just swooped it up with all the fish. It's on his boat now. He asks, Corey, does the fact that Bama got slapped around by Clemson provide some relief from the sting of our loss to Clemson? Regardless, ACC on top. ACC.
Yeah.
ACC.
Get that chant going, guys.
ACC.
2 out of the last 3 years, the
Get
ACC has won. 3 out of the last 5, the ACC has won.
We don't
last
always
5 years.
We don't always win the national championship, but when we do, we beat SEC teams.
I was going to say the last 5 years, the ACC has won more national titles than the SEC.
Just saying. Swafford for president.
Yeah, and it's been 2 schools, not just Alabama having to carry the torch for an entire program. No, I don't think so. To answer the question, it's not just that you lost and you lost badly. I mean, it was 59-3 in your own stadium. I mean, there's nothing that can ever take the sting away from that. You were completely and totally outmanned, outclassed, outcoached.
59-10.
It finished 59-10. Yeah. It was 59-3 until the 2 minutes were left in the game. It was just it was. Looking back on it now with the 2 months of hindsight, it was obviously one of the most embarrassing days in Florida State history. I mean, Clemson is awesome. It's a really good team. They beat the tar out of everyone.
Florida State's played a lot of awesome teams.
Yeah, they've never looked like that. They've never looked like, other than like maybe the last Tebow game. And even then it was like 37-3 or something, 37-12.
And we realized Louisville happened. It happened on Jimbo's watch. I get it.
Sure, but where you just felt like there was no chance, zero chance that Florida State could win that game, and then they went out there and they proved that they couldn't even hang with them.
Like if you played this team 10 times, you're not beating them.
I don't know if you're getting within 21 points any of the 10 times.
Yeah.
That's number one, because of how good they are and how little I believe your players believe. Yeah. That's the culture stuff that has to change. You hope it is changing, but no. I will say this though, like
they held Alabama for we held Clemson for lower points than Alabama did in the first quarter, right? Wasn't it scoreless after one quarter?
Yeah, it was. It should have been 3-0 in the second quarter, and my man runs into the kicker,
and then everything changed,
and that flipped the whole game around. But I was going to say, I think what it does do is it should make Notre Dame fans feel like, okay, guys, we just lost to an awesome team, and we held them to 30.
That's a good point.
And it was 9-0 late in the second quarter. Like, Notre Dame's defense is really good. And so if you want to play the transitive property of that,
nice.
Maybe you don't feel too bad about what happened at Notre Dame. I genuinely feel you might have played the two best teams in the country. You got hammered by both of them. You weren't competitive in either one. But it just shows you how tough that schedule was. And even if you'd have played well, that's the problem. Even if you played well, you weren't beating either one of those teams.
Enol_2000. For those of us who have not heard it yet, can we get a little bit of Corey's Liam Neeson impression?
Oh, boy. I don't know if it's copyrighted by Seminole Headlines. I don't know if I'm allowed to do it.
Yeah, you're a Seminole Headlines guy. You've never heard it on Seminole Headlines?
So the impression is Liam Neeson, but it's only one word. It's the word, and I haven't done this in a while, so I won't.
Do you want? Should I?
No.
I don't want to look at you. I don't want
to
make you feel nervous.
I think so. It's Liam Neeson saying the word banana, but that's all. That's all the impression is one word. So here we go. Banana.
Nailed it.
All right, good. So that's all I got. You feel free to copy it, use it, whatever you got to do. I stole it from Kevin Pollak.
Enol is originally from South Bend, Indiana, home of really crappy weather.
I think it needs to be a little more breathy. Banana. Is that
yeah,
better? Was a little breathier.
Oh, yeah.
They
got two of them there. You've met the quota for the year. Enol says he's from South Bend, the home of really crappy weather, a university with an overly arrogant fan base, and Vivica Fox, temporarily. Her parents were smart enough to move out of South Bend shortly after she was born. Unfortunately, I was stuck here until I graduated high school, in which I moved and enrolled at Florida State University. #BoomBaby. Awesome.
Vivica Fox is from South Bend. That's crazy.
Well, the Jackson 5 from Gary, Indiana. I never thought they'd been from Indiana. Yeah, I just think a bunch of corn husking, good old down home folks.
Guys shooting baskets on the side of their barn.
Yeah, Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, guess what I did a few days ago?
You watched Hoosiers?
I watched Remember the Titans.
Oh well, I thought we were talking about. So you did.
I finally watched it.
What'd you think? Pretty hacky, pretty corny, right?
Really corny.
Yeah, for its time, 20 years ago, it was different.
Well, my thing, there was
they Disneyfied like what was obviously a very tenuous, tumultuous time in our history with racial, with just race relations. And they kind of Disneyfied it with a cop saying, "Hey, good game the other day."
Yeah. Well, and the thing's actually read something on page 2, which ESPN.com used to do, called Real Life versus Real Life, and they spelled real, real with an A and E.
Right.
A lot of this stuff was factually correct, which was really cool. I mean, they did win a state championship and all that.
And they did finish second in the nation.
Yeah, that's super cool. There's two things that bothered me. One of them was, so Sunshine comes in there and just throws a rope the first day, and then you just want him to run the veer and, pitch the ball.
We can't adjust the offense.
Come on, Coach Boone. You're supposed to be the man. And there was something else that bothered me, but I can't remember at this point. What was a little bit of a letdown was I saw what a great cast. I mean, not only Denzel, but obviously Kate Bosworth, although she's a racist girl, so I can't look at her the same anymore. It's tough. Somebody like Sarah Paulson, her role in 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, it's tough to get past that.
I'm damn, I know you're acting, but come on.
Ned Beatty in Deliverance. Did you ever see that? It's tough to ever see him in anything again.
Without squealing?
Yeah. That's all you see, even in Superman and all that. Are we going to Addis Ababa, Mr. Luthor? All you see is Deliverance. Ryan Gosling is in that movie. Yeah.
But then, in the
guy from Office, or not Office, Scrubs, Donald Glover.
Okay, yeah.
He's the running back. Petey, he's the cornerback.
And they just all of a sudden move him to cornerback, and he's lining it up, figure it out, guys. But no, I saw Hayden Panettiere was in the crest. I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's
come
6
on,
years
man.
old.
She's 11.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
She wasn't 6. She was 10 or 11.
Yeah, I forgot.
But also, real quick, so I was in Valdosta. I was the sports editor at the Valdosta Daily Times when that movie came out, and so they say at the end of the movie that Hayden Panettiere, whatever her name is given the voiceover at the end, and she's like, "And we finished number 2 in the entire country." Well, the team that finished number 1 was Valdosta.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they obviously went through the same things in Valdosta, Georgia, that they did in wherever that is in Virginia.
Alexandria.
So I always thought it would be a really good story to do Remember the Wildcats and do a 30-year retrospective on that team that won the national title, but who's got that kind of time?
Indeed, right. True Knoll, Aslan Corey, good morning. Originally from Canova, West Virginia, a small town of less than 5,000, but also home of Donnie Robinson, former Pittsburgh Pirate, 97 NL Rookie of the Year.
Donnie Robinson?
That's what he says. I'm going to take everybody at their word at it.
97 NL Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
All right.
Does Florida State have any player that would have cracked the starting lineup that Clemson ran out there in the national title game? And will this finally put to rest the ridiculous claim that Jimbo recruited and left behind a roster full of superstars that Willie drove into the ditch? Thanks, fellas. You guys work well together. Love the show.
I also love that everybody has heeded the advice about the hometown and who's famous from there. That's a really cool. And by the way, if you've sent us, always remind us, even if we've read it 6 times, remind us where you're from and who was famous from there. But that was Aslan just got up for something. I'm not sure what he's doing. Oh, now I know. I won't let you guys in on that secret. I won't peel back the curtain there. I wrote that. I think I wrote that after the Clemson game. Is maybe I just tweeted it, but it's hard to know these days in 2018. 19,
Cam would play there. Marvin Wilson would play there.
But I don't know that. I don't know that Marvin Wilson would start. I don't know that Tamorian Terry would start, and I don't know that. I don't think Cam Akers would start. And Cam Akers is really good. That dude is really good. They're both from one's from Louisiana. Etienne's from Louisiana, and Akers from Mississippi. Maybe he'd start. But yeah, you look at the 22 that Clemson has and the 22 that Florida State has. You're looking at maybe one guy that would start at Clemson. That's
But that means they're 49 points better than us, though.
No. That's what I'm saying. But. We can look at the rankings and say, well, these guys should be a lot better because they are ranked 4 stars coming out of high school. But you got to develop them too, and not all 4 stars are equal. And obviously, Clemson's 4 stars are worlds better than your 4 stars. I don't know that all those defensive linemen were 5-star kids that Clemson had. They play like 5 stars, and all Florida State's 5-star DBs didn't play like 5-star DBs. So it's all about developing too. But yeah, that was and some of it's on Taggart. You can coach them better. I mean, it's not like you're coaching the Sally's School for the Deaf. I mean, you do have really good players. So that wouldn't be a bad name for a school, would it? Even if they're not deaf.
Ryan 1. Good luck carrying the show on your own, loser. Sorry, Corey made me say that. He's an intimidating guy sometimes, as long as there aren't any squirrels around.
True.
Captain D_63. This coaching staff may be already assembled by the time you get to this. Why is it taking so long naming the new coaches to the staff? Secondly, is there enough talent on this team for a 10 or 11-win season? With the added new coaching staff, are we still about 2-3 years away from getting back to FSU standards? Thanks, guys, for a great show and making the offseason bearable. Well, thank you, Captain.
We do the best we can. The offseason came a little quicker than it normally does. Yeah. We tried our best.
Some of it is they try to keep these guys in jobs, even though we all know they're getting fired, and they know they're getting fired, and everybody else in the industry knows they're getting fired. I think a lot of it is just to help their marketability, like not just dumping a guy immediately, like Alonzo Hampton, like the day after the Florida game. Those are personal relationships you have set up, so it takes a while to let go of guys, and then you got to start vetting some people too. Obviously, I mean these things take time.
Yeah,
it's been taking that long, really.
And it's still the dead period, right? Aren't we still in it?
Yeah.
So it's not like you're falling behind in recruiting because you haven't named a coach here or a coach there. They do need to get it done, sooner rather than later. But I will say this again: it's not 2009 or 2012 where you're all pointing to this one signing day. That you got to get stuff done, you got to cram it in. You've got 3 weeks until you've got to recruit all these kids. I mean, most of your class is in. Mm-hmm. You're looking at 5 or 6 more kids, so it's not imperative like it was last year to just we got to get a staff together because we've got to catch up. We're 2 laps behind. We got to try to get players in. You're not in that position now, so it's not vital that you get these guys in the next. You just don't rush it. I feel like Willie rushed it, obviously.
He had to.
It wasn't his fault, but he had to rush it. And obviously he made some decisions that he regrets when it comes to his staff. You got time now, so get it right.
Yeah. And to the point about them, waiting to help the marketability, it's to help these guys try to find landing spots too. I mean,
sure.
Like the AFCA convention in San Antonio is like the largest coaching networking event that wrapped up earlier this week. So, it gives time for these guys to go down there and, make some relationships and find some jobs. Yeah, we're I don't know. I mean, 10 and 11 wins, and it would be an absolute.
That would be a stunner.
Yeah,
he'd win Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Florida State would finally have an ACC Coach of the Year again.
Yeah. I mean, the defense would just have to take a really huge turn, and then I'm trying to think like what they could do. I mean, hope and dream. I'm not trying to shoot that down. I can't see that happening. 2 or 3 years away sounds more practical. That's the kind of the world I like to live in. Maxwell Gibbs, the newly engaged Maxwell Gibbs. Congratulations. Nuck if you buck, Corey. Sup, Aslan. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This is all caps. It's infuriating that 5 years ago FSU was pummeling that clown Dabo. I'll never forget going to Death Valley in both 13 and 15 as a student and reminding Clemson fans that they wish they were FSU and Dabo was a buffoon who had to hire expensive coordinators just to win games. Now my beloved Noles are a joke and an afterthought. What's it going to take for FSU to get back to this level? I don't see Clemson going anywhere anytime soon, so it's not going to be gifted to us like we gifted it to them. Side note, should FSU hire a co-coordinator on the defense to assist Harlan Barnett? Greg Schiano's available, and he's got experience being a head coach that Taggart could lean on come game day since Willie seems to be afraid of the moment. Those are not my words.
A lot to unpack there from Maxwell G. He's usually in a better mood than that.
Yeah, I
think he got a little upset with the Clemson thing. Really kind of threw him for a loop that they beat Alabama by 28 points.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, like I said the other day, I think there's only room for like 2 or 3 super teams at the top, and you got to throw one of them off. They're not going to seed it, I guess, the way kind of Florida State did with Jimbo. I mean, I don't know, to get back to that level, like you have to hope you can hold on to a Kendall Briles for 4 years, and then you get a full recruiting cycle of players that Willie likes that he thinks has the edge, and maybe you get like a really good, DBs coach to help out with Harlan Barnett. Like, look what Clemson's doing. That's what we need to do. I mean, they're investing now. Florida State obviously in getting the facilities made, but I mean, listen, man, like Brent Venables making two point something a year, million. That's tough. Like, you got to start. I don't know. You got to start fishing in those waters. You got to start throwing that kind of money down. I feel like you really do. I mean, maybe not 2 point, but Harlan Barnett's making $900. That's nothing to sneeze at. But they went all in on getting a guy like Kendall Briles. I feel like if this is what they're going to, Willie's like hands off on my offense. Like, you figure everything out, Kendall Briles. Well, you need like a really, really good defensive coordinator too. Harlan Barnett's a good coordinator. I don't know if he's really, really good though.
Yeah, man. You need to get NFL players.
That too.
One way or the other. Get some guys. I mean, again, you had was it a 3-year stretch, right? There was 29 guys drafted, which was an all-time record through 7 rounds. Because, back in the 70s, they had 14 rounds, and that didn't count. Yeah. But so through 7 rounds, they had 29 guys drafted in 3 years. And what have they had drafted? What are they going to have drafted this year? What have they had drafted these last 3 years? Maybe 8, 10, and half of them have been in the 7th round, as opposed to that crew of 29 where half of them were in the first 2 rounds. That's the difference, man. I mean, yeah, good coaching helps. Developing talent helps, and those guys were developed. They didn't just come in as ready-made. Some of them did, but not all of them came in as ready-made products. But you've got to get back to getting great players.
Which is crazy. I always thought like Jimbo had such good talent evaluation, like the Xavier Rhodes move, finding Cam Irving, Brian Stork. I mean, he did so many good things, and then all of a sudden it just went bad really quickly. But yeah, it all comes down to talent evaluation too. I always hear like the guy who used to post on the boards all the time, Warpaint. I don't know where I'm that guy, but he was always, coaches coach, players play. It's all about the players. And I'm like, come on, get off it already. But it is, yeah. I mean,
it's about getting players here and doing something when they get here. Again, those Clemson guys didn't come in and weren't badasses on the defensive line as true freshmen. Yeah. They got developed. You got to do that. That's part of it. But you just weren't competitive. You didn't have the players. You certainly don't have the players on the offensive line. And I'm not even go down that road. That horse has been stuffed. But you watch Clemson and Alabama and Georgia and Notre Dame. It's different, man. Their lines of scrimmages are different. Go do that. You got 2 years to go do that.
A big _G95. Good morning, fellas. First timer on the Renegade Express, hometown, Washington, D.C.
Oh, Lord, there's a lot of those.
Southeast, to be exact. Famous people born in D.C. Marvin Gaye, Duke Ellington, Dave Chappelle, Samuel L. Jackson, and Kevin Durant. Damn, that's strong.
That's real strong. I didn't know about Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah. I knew about Durant, though. Yeah. I saw him play as a junior in high school. Yeah.
Really?
He was at Oak Hill. He went to Oak Hill for his junior year and then went back to somewhere else his senior year. But they played Lewis Williams. I don't know if you know who that is. He plays for the Clippers. He's won the Sixth Man of the Year 3 or 4 times.
Lou Williams.
Lou Williams, sorry. Yeah. But he was at a public school in Gwinnett, when I worked there, and I covered them. They played Oak Hill. It had Kevin Durant. It had that Devendorf kid. Remember him from Syracuse, the white kid with all the tats? Had Ty Lawson. They were all on this Oak Hill team. and Lewis's team beat him by 14 points.
Really?
It was crazy. It was really nuts. But you could tell Durant, he looked like he was 12, except he was 6'8". You could and he was just raining threes. It was pretty ridiculous. So I got to see him in high school. That's cool. Just like I get to tell people I saw Zion in college.
Boom. 2 questions from him. First question: how does attrition work in college football? Is there a pink slip given out? Is it like an eviction notice? 30 days to leave campus.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be. We appreciate your services, but get out. I don't know that you do that because you probably wouldn't want the negative press that comes with that.
It's just the meetings, right? I mean, it's like exit meetings. Hey, man, this is where you were last year. This is where we see you. Probably.
Yeah, but I don't think.
Better opportunities.
I might be wrong, but I certainly don't. I don't support that practice. If a kid has been here 3 or 4 years, and then you come in as a new coach and say, "Oh, you can't play," I still think he's allowed to be there until he graduates. Yeah. Do not kick him out of school before he graduates. If he's already graduated and he has no plans to be a part of your team, and he's somehow holding up one scholarship, all right, I guess.
But can't you explain to him, like, listen, I just can't see a role for you here, but like if you want to be part of this team, if you want to come and work every day, like we'll give you the opportunity, but I just don't really see.
Yeah, you can do that. Sure. You want to say whatever you say that makes him want to transfer.
Yes. Yeah.
Or just give up football, which apparently happens a little bit too often here at Florida State.
I got to look into that, though, because I'm pretty sure LOIs, like the letter of intent they sign, like the scholarships are like 1 year.
It's 1 year renewable. Yeah. But again, it's a practice that you don't typically you don't say, okay, we're not renewing your scholarship.
Yeah. I'll remember after one of the practices back like in 03 or 04. No, not then, because I wasn't covering the beat then. I was probably like 05. I remember like Lawrence Timmons had a really good practice, and Kevin Steele said something about, yeah, he's good. We'll probably keep him on scholarship next year.
There you go.
Too.
Yeah, there you go, Kevin Steele.
Oh, nice. Sean 7711, curious on, or actually no, he had a second question. The second question, I'm sorry. Can our recruiting class increase with an increased number of attrition? Thanks, fellas. You guys make my 45-minute commute a breeze.
There we go.
I do not think so. I think they capped it at 25. That's the cap. You can only bring in 25 guys.
Yeah,
per
but if you went into this class thinking you're only going to have 22 spots, and then a few open up, it could work out that way. But yeah, you're not supposed to go over 25. If you do, they're supposed to be gray shirted, right? Isn't that the thing?
I think so. I'll have Michael Langston talk about it on the recruiting chat later on Thursday. Sean 7711, curious your thoughts about team discipline going forward. My perception is that Briles is also a player's coach. Who on the staff can and will be the bad cop? Have you guys gleaned any inside knowledge on Briles' coaching style, or is all of the, quote, lack of discipline talk blown out of proportion, and given all the shortcomings this season, any team would have come across as lacking discipline?
I don't know if this answers that question. It probably doesn't. But Ira, we were watching the game on Monday night with Ira, and I can't remember if it's a buddy of his or a friend of a friend who works in College Station, and I think he works security for one of the visiting locker room. And he said, I think he tweeted it, and that's why Ira saw it. He saw the tweet where the guy tweeted out that he's been doing it forever, being the security for the visiting locker room. And he said there's never been a more organized, more polite, more yes sir, more just generous, gracious team that's come in that stadium than Clemson. Again, does that mean you win football games on all that? No, because then Army and Navy would be playing for championships every year if it was good manners. But I think all that matters. I think when you hear stories about how the Florida State team in previous years would essentially debase the plane as they got off, just leave trash everywhere, not have any respect for where they were. I do think that stuff. It's minutia. It's not the overriding theme. But I think that stuff carries over.
Habits, man.
It does, man. I'm telling you. As I get older, man, and I'm trying to raise a son, you want the habits to go, not just, hey, man, don't just go out there and practice basketball for 20 minutes and take that seriously, or 40 minutes or an hour. Practice your math homework, but care, do it, have some pride in yourself. And I think that carries over to all walks of life, and I do think it carries over in academics. I think that matters. As far as the discipline goes, I mean, that's kind of where I was going to with the discipline and self-pride. Pride in who you represent too. You don't want to be just trashing planes. You want to be polite and so anyway, or trashing locker rooms or whatever. So I think when it comes to discipline, I don't know if there's I don't know that you necessarily. I don't think Willie is just Mr. Good Cop all the time either. I think there's some bad cop in Willie, and I think what you do is you have it where they don't want to let him down. That's what you want to create. Yeah. So I think that I don't necessarily think you need a good cop, bad cop. I think you need players that really, really appreciate where they are and want to represent it in the right way.
And it sounds like he's getting that. A lot of the kids that committed, this class and the guys that Michael spoke to at the Under Armour game, a lot of these guys want to be the solution, the guys that help turn things around.
There you go.
I don't know a lot about Kendall Briles' philosophy or in terms of if he's players coach, bad cop, but I do know, man, if he does bring Randy Clements, Randy Clements looks like he looks like a tough SOB. Not that Greg Fry looks like a pushover or anything, but like Randy Clements looks like he's gonna hurt feelings. Which, like, listen, Greg Fry was not nice either, man. I don't know how Rick Trickett was, but it wasn't a picnic plane for Greg Fry either. So
no, well, look, man, it's a hard position.
It's just, gosh, them and defensive tackle, just watching those guys practice every day, like, man, what a miserable existence. Like, especially if you're not making plays and not, it's crazy. All right, ATL Knoll 82, fellas, wake up. What do you two think about this whole conference affiliation debate, i.e. rooting for a team just because they're in your conference? I didn't even know it existed until I moved up to Atlanta and was met with straight-up hate from the lunacy that is Dog Nation. Thanks, Corey. All because FSU doesn't play in the omnipotent SEC. Or omnipotent or omnipotent? The omnipotent SEC?
Omnipotent, yeah.
The omnipotent
sounds better, though.
Yeah, I felt like I had to start pulling for the ACC in head-to-head games just to have some firepower when the SEC got beat. Does it really make a difference? If you live there, it does, though. I mean,
sure.
Like being in Mississippi, it was a big deal, like because Florida State was killing it when I was in Mississippi, so everybody kind of kissed the ring. You're like, oh, wow, that's cool, yeah. But, like, the last year I was in Dothan in Alabama, it was kind of like, ha, 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 that's fun. Huh? I'm like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I get more rooting against the SEC than I do pulling for Clemson.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Florida State fan, it's not advantageous at all for your rival, your conference rival, to keep steady winning national championships. That's not good. But I get it because we're just inundated with the SEC all the time. Now all that's going to flip, my man, when the ACC network comes running down the tracks, come choo-chooing down the tracks in August of this year. Everything's going to flip, and that's going to get huge ratings. And then we're all going to be bathing in money.
Indeed. Do you see the Clemson bludgeoning of Bama as good, bad, indifferent to FSU's future success and how fast we can turn it around? What if Bama would have won? As always, I appreciate the work you put in. Also mentions that somebody posted a photo of Trevor Lawrence that looked like the Easter Island statues. It's hilarious. Look it up, he says.
My girlfriend Stephanie thinks he looks like the kid from Dazed and Confused. Did you ever see that movie? Mitch, the kid that always rubs his nose, and he's Mitchy. So he's definitely got the hair.
I don't feel good, man. I don't feel good about taking over anytime soon after they did that to Alabama. And had Alabama beat them the way they did last year in the Sugar Bowl playoff, I would be like, all right, they're within striking distance.
But don't you have like the rabbit to chase? You got the stick, the carrot that you know that okay, we got to be that, and it's right there. It's in your backyard essentially. So, and you get to measure yourself every year, which isn't a great thing, obviously here lately. But you do get to see how you stack up against the best team in the country. And you recruit against them. You're in the same conference. You're trying to be them now, just like they were trying to catch up to you for years, decades really. So that I guess that could be a positive. And again, if kids from around the country can see, oh wait, I can be famous, I can win championships, and I can go to the NFL playing in the ACC. I don't have to buy all that. You got to come to the SEC. It just means more garbage. Right. Look at what Clemson's done the last 4 years. I think maybe that helps a little bit as a byproduct. But no, by and large, Clemson being awesome is just good for Clemson.
Yeah. NYC Knoll, hey Corey and Panic Pete. Like we do realize this team was 5-7 last year.
Yeah. Are you mad at me? Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, I can't look at this guy, this faceless person.
Oh, he's got a faceless avatar?
No, I mean, he's got the guy from Breakfast Club, the Florida State alum, who's no longer with us.
Oh, Gleason, yeah.
Paul Gleason.
2 months, Bender.
Yeah, 2 months. That's exactly what he's got out there. I just don't know. Like, this is a 5-7 program. The one guy they're talking about bringing in to help the defense literally got fired and had one of the third or fourth worst defense in the entire nation. Like, do you folks go to car rental places and ask them for the car that's got the shoddy brakes and the cracked windshield? Like, do you feel like, does that make you feel comfortable?
Now was this question about McGriff or was it?
This is the thing.
Panicky Pete.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, I should laugh these things. I'm the skeptic.
Yeah, I don't think you need to take it that personally. You are a skeptic. That's your lot in life.
They're 5-7, man. Like, what am I supposed to feel? Like, what am I supposed to talk about?
If you want to talk about the 2018 team, I don't think anybody would begrudge you of.
Like, I love
being skeptical.
I love the Kendall Briles hire. I mean, I've spoken. That is a bulletproof hire. Like Wesley McGriff is not gonna. It's not a bulletproof hire, so I'm going to probably find a couple things I don't like about it.
Sure. All right. Hey, man.
Quick question: who do you want at quarterback next year and why? He asks.
So that was all his question was?
You taking shots, man?
I just called you Panicky Pete. I thought it was funny.
My name's not even Pete. I'm not even panicking. I didn't panic. I'm not panicking. I'm just pointing out the fact I'm not panicking.
I thought we were about to hear like a screed about how you need to calm down and trust Willie Taggart. All he was asking is about the quarterback. Right now, I would say James Blackman
or give me death, man. I want JB.
I'm on the James Blackman train. Although DeAndre, Instagram that he's coming back, and he did it. So with DeAndre, and again, we won't talk about him much for the next. This won't be a daily conversation. So he did it on Instagram, I guess, where he did it like the kid at Oregon did. Herbert, whatever his name is.
It's Herbert. He's not.
I always want to say Haybear because I grew up with him as a quarterback in the NFL. Where Herbert did it, and knowing that it would be just universally beloved by Oregon fans. Do you think DeAndre thinks that, or do you think DeAndre does it almost as like a stick to the bear? Like, hey, man,
there's people out there that really, really like him. Dude, there was literally a guy that tried to get me fired. Literally would tweet at Florida State staffers like, hey, this guy criticized Francois on his radio show. He shouldn't be able to cover the team anymore. Like, people like him a lot.
I wouldn't say people as a singular. There are people that do. But most people are like, oh, all right, okay, right? Don't you think that's the fans? It's like, well, all right, man, if you want to come back, sure.
I don't know.
But I wonder if DeAndre thinks that's like like Peter Warwick coming back for his senior year, or Herbert, or all these guys that Andrew
Relax, everybody.
Yeah, I just
got this covered.
All right.
I don't know, man. I find it hard to read the fans, man. I used to think that we had the same heartbeat, but we clearly don't. Daniel Cassie, wake up! Hey, guys, love the show. Been listening since Wake Up War Chant. Since it started, and the Aslan Corey duo was on point.
Thanks, buddy.
It's crazy.
He didn't call you Panicky Pete.
It just shows it's crazy. Like, people, it's just crazy how humanity works out. One person thinks you're like a jerk. The other one's like, I actually like listening to you. It's crazy how this works out, this whole life thing. Just looking at some of the recruits we've been bringing in this class really exposes the lack of recruiting that has been done the last few years. For example, the difference between Kalen DeLoach and Jaleel McRae compared to Kalen Brooks and Leonard Warner. Come on, guys. Leonard Warner went to IMG Academy, man. He was like a 4-star. He wasn't like a bum.
Was he?
Yeah, man. Oh. Dante, he's from Snellville, Georgia.
I thought he was from Brookwood. I thought he went to Brookwood.
I thought he went to IMG for a little bit. I could be wrong. I take it back. I should not talk about recruiting. Dante the Pope Lucas, JUCO tackle Jay Williams, Maurice Smith. I could go on and on.
By the way, real quick, I don't know anything about Lucas. I certainly can't translate to the next level and evaluate how he's going to be, but I did watch I watched about 4 minutes of that Under Armour game just to see what he – and holy moly, is that dude big? Like, he stands out even on an all-star team. He stands out as just a mass of humanity.
Yeah, I take it back. I'm sorry, everybody. Rivals has him listed as being from Brookwood High School in Snellville, Georgia. Leonard Warner. No, I did see him at the camp, the 5-star challenge that Rivals had at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the stadium that Corey Clark helped build.
Right.
They're not in pads, but he's physically imposing. He tosses people around. He's strong. I mean, he's super, super strong. He's mean. He plays it and everything. Yeah, Dante Lucas, you need a lot of those guys. The question from Daniel Cassie: would you agree with the schedule being easier, having football players that can at least compete? And I don't know, a Kendall Briles, that was in all caps, that it's safe to say we see dramatic turnaround this season. Maybe not 11, but 8 to 9, and actually look like a competent program. With Kendall, yeah, I mean, I never like depending on true freshmen. I think that puts a lot of pressure on these kids, and they're very rarely you see them come and make an impact. I think you mentioned on some of the War Chant Report videos that we've been working on that, I mean, Kendall Briles has got to be worth an extra, 8, 9 points a game. And I know some of these games obviously are really huge margins of defeat, but, maybe just the belief, the confidence, the offense being out there a little bit more, moving the ball a little bit further down the field, not putting the defense in such bad field position situations. He's not going to be the difference between losing to Clemson by 49 points and beating them, but maybe I don't know, maybe you beat NC State. Maybe you hold on, you beat a Miami. Maybe you come out and play like gangbusters against a Florida.
Or Virginia Tech. You don't just score 3 points. I think – I would think that you think if he's worth 8 or 9 points a game, then that takes you from 5 wins to 7 or 8 wins. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's worth more than that. Maybe the offensive line gets really good. Maybe Cam Akers runs for 1,500 yards. There's a lot of things on the table. The cupboard isn't completely bare. You've just got to get to average on the offensive line. whatever mix you have, whatever mix of coaching you have, and then Kendall Briles should be able to get you to 30 a game. 30 points a game. It's not asking the world.
No.
A lot of I know you guys aren't going to believe this, but a lot of teams score like 30 points a game. It does happen. I saw it with my own eyes a lot this year. So if you get to 30 points a game, if you have an offense that you know can score 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, just 4 times, that changes everything. Changes the way your defense plays. It changes the way the other team plays, knowing that they're going to have to keep scoring, all that stuff, man. I just think and we said it long ago, that offense is what's going to turn this program back around. Getting the offense back on track. The defense will take care of itself, in my opinion. But if you get a good offense, that changes things. And if somehow next year they still only average 21 points a game and they're 118th in the nation in offense, and they average 350 yards a game, which is 125th or whatever, well, then we're really going to know how bad the offensive line is. Because now you've done it with 3 different coaches, a Jimbo Fisher, a Willie Taggart, and a Kendall Briles, and none of them could do anything with it. Therein lies the problem.
Right. One-word answer. He asked about Clemson, how well they look running laps maybe around us. Is the ceiling for the next 2 seasons for Florida State second best in the ACC?
Yes.
Yes, I agree. By the way, he's from Duval. Famous people from Duval. Bob Hayes, Tug McGraw, Ron Sellers, Edgar Bennett, Brian Dawkins, Tim Tebow. Why would you say Tim Tebow on a Florida State
not Leroy
show?
Butler. Not Punt Ruski famed Leroy Butler's from Jacksonville.
Oh my gosh. Limp Bizkit, red jumpsuit apparatus, shine down.
And one of the guys from The Good Place, the TV show The Good Place.
Take a lap, Daniel. Take a lap.
He's from, his character is from Duval.
Williamson 021379, maybe from Russia. Jimbo sabotage is so bad, but we are not a joke. This is Florida State. We will be back. Congrats to Clemson. They are good only because they have a quarterback, but I do think that their last year winning or going, they're losing. There's just not a lot of commas and stuff in here, man. Williamson basically thinks that, yeah, man, everyone's going to be losing guys. Ohio State, Bama's 5-star. I don't know. I should have proofread this before I read it.
Sure.
We appreciate you being part of the program, Williamson.
I mean,
we're good. It's Florida State. We will be back. We will rise again.
We will. Yeah, we've talked about that, Phoenix. We talk about it a lot on this show, that it will rise from the ashes. But Clemson's more than just a quarterback. They were in the playoff last year with a terrible quarterback.
I think I'm reading. I think what he's trying to say is that Alabama looks good because they don't face any good quarterbacks. Florida State faces good quarterbacks, and we just saw.
Well, and that's true.
That's true. Good point.
Mean, they faced the 3 best quarterbacks they faced this year. Alabama was maybe the lock kid at Missouri. I don't know, but Fromm, Murray, and Lawrence, and they kind of got lit up by all 3.
Yeah.
I know the SEC is tough. I get it. But the one thing you really don't have to worry about a lot in the SEC is facing great quarterbacks. And when you do, and you haven't done it all year, it can be a challenge. And they got exposed a little bit those last 3 games. I thought their secondary did anyway.
Then they got ricked on offense, man. Mike Locksley taking that head coaching job. Well, Lane Kiffin had to leave, but Mike Locksley could stay on? What was that about? Let me figure it out.
I think they had Sarkisian in the wings to just do what he needed to do.
Yep. Oh, yeah, here we go. So this, Corey, as always, fine work on all platforms. This is from Salty Chris Fowler, but his whole question is literally just a shot at me. It's just literally like passive-aggressive stuff that he thinks I'm actually going to read, so I'm not going to do it. But basically, he wants to know why.
Well, Salty Chris Fowler, I appreciate the message. Yeah. Aslan does his best. We work with him. No, that's
fine.
Okay.
Basically wants to know why that I constantly bemoan any Florida State moves, even ones that never happen, such as McGriff. Because I don't know, man. Let me just put it here. Let's see here. Again, he's in the NFL for 3 years.
We've done it. Okay. You've done it. Right. We got it. And also, the listeners need to know. I know he can be. He probably can be maddening at times, just like I can. I get it. But my man Aslan is invested in Florida State football. This isn't an act. He takes it personally when they lose. He takes it personally when they play bad. I'm sitting next to him in the press box, and I hear him. He is a fan, and he is frustrated. He's also a journalist. He also has a job to do.
Damn right.
But he is a fan at heart, and it means a lot. And he is wounded by how bad this program is, like many of you are. It's just he has a platform to offer his, skepticism that maybe you guys don't. But I'm telling you, it's not like he's rooting against Florida State. He only wants the best for Florida State. Maybe sometimes he's a little too negative. I get it, but it comes from a good place because he really wants Florida State to be good.
Thanks, man.
You got it.
Fikester, wake up! First time on the Renegade Express. Joined War Chant right before the holidays.
There we go.
Awesome,
there we
man.
go.
Welcome.
What's his name?
Feixter.
Feixter?
F-E-I-C-K,
Okay.
Feixter. Originally from Palm Beach County, Florida, hometown to the man, the myth, the legend, Akeem Dent. Also some guy named Burt Reynolds.
Okay. All right. Those are
Nice.
two good ones. Yeah.
Welcome. You're
2 5-stars.
fitting in nicely around here. I need something to look forward to this season. So many writers out there are extremely negative about 2019 and where we're headed. I get it. But I haven't quite made it to those depths. I feel good about this class so far and think we'll see more action with recruits in the coming weeks. Quarterback situation, a little hairy, but Blackman isn't the worst first option in my opinion. I agree. I think Briles can get a lot out of him if that's the hand we're dealt and his teammates rally for him. Give us something that you're most excited about in 2019. Thanks for the quality work and making work days suck a little less.
Most excited about?
I mean, it's Kendall Briles running your offense.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be it, right?
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, because he's got a longer – he's not a head coach, but he's got a longer track record of putting up points than Willie Taggart did. Willie Taggart had like a burst of about 3 years where he really had it going. He had it going in Oregon when he had a healthy quarterback. But this guy's done it every which way.
Three different schools.
They ran for 600 yards in one bowl game, threw for 600 yards in another bowl game. What he's done on offense speaks for itself. He's been doing it. Again, it's in his DNA. He does not go on football fields and score less than 30 points. He just doesn't. That's not that does not compute. Scoring 3 points in the first 57 minutes of a game is something he's not accustomed to. It just doesn't make sense to him. So you have that. And as long as the head coach is willing to let him install and run his offense completely, then that's something to look forward to because the guy's track record speaks for itself. You are going to score points, more points. How many more? Obviously, we don't know, but you are going to score more points, and you're going to look better doing it.
Yeah, and I hope he just finds a way to get Cam back involved in it. Cam, obviously, money year for him.
Yeah.
And then it's money year for Tamori and Terry, too. That's going to be the crazy thing. Imagine this team wins like 9 games, and then you're like, oh, it feels so good. And then it's like Cam's like going pro. And Tamori and Terry's like going pro. It's like, golly.
Marvin Wilson's going pro.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like you just want to get the ball going again.
Yeah, man, it's actually really good. When you look at the teams that have 4, 5, 6 guys declare early, they are usually pretty good teams.
Yeah. Doak FSU 1, good morning, dynamic duo. Going into spring practice, what are you most excited about observing? I am interested in seeing how the early enrollees and grad transfers hold up and how they project into the lineup. Thanks for all that you do for Knoll Nation. Notable people from Kingsport, Harry Coover.
Kingsport where? Rhode Island?
Is that Tennessee, maybe? Kingsport, Tennessee? Is that
all right.
Harry Coover, the inventor of super glue, Bobby Dodd, Daniel Kilgore, plays for the Dolphins, used to play for the 49ers, Blake Leeper, Paralympic silver medalist, Cody Sensabaugh, and Gerald Sensabaugh.
Okay, the Sensabaugh
the
boys.
Sensabaugh clan.
What did you say, Bobby Dodd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most excited
Georgia
about
Tech Stadium is named after Bobby Dodd, but I'm going to look up and see.
Robert Klecker-Bowden went by Bobby because of Bobby Dodd.
Oh, well, there you go, buddy.
What am I most excited about observing? Man, I'm an offense guy. I just want to see. I want to see how they're going to use the time practicing. Again, there were drills that they did that seemed a little superfluous, or at least not very.
Kingsport, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's amazing the little towns you discover when you work in small market television. Like you're swapping videos and you have a minor league team playing in a small town. And you're like, where?
Well, it's the same thing in South Georgia, working at like Thomasville and Valdosta, all those small towns there. Yeah. Equipment and
real America.
That's right.
But yeah, I just want to see how what sort of offenses they run. I actually did see a video. I meant to watch. I got a lot of videos I've saved on YouTube that I want to watch. But there was like an Art Briles video. I think either Coach's Choice video, which is funny because that's what Walt Bell mentioned one time about, if I need to look at Darrell K. Royal Coach's Choice video to run the wishbone to put on points, we'll do that. I just want to see what they do because there's a very methodical approach for Briles. I mean, he said that every single throw they make out there matters at practice. Every single throw is of importance. It's not just, do it just to warm your arm up or get it. It seems like there's a very structured sort of thing. I'm interested to hear more about how they want to run things. I just want to see how they're going to run it because the offense, there was a lot of just sort of, all right, it's all right. Running backs, you go here. Receivers, you wait, and then you go. And they're all doing the same sort of drill. You got the quarterbacks running in place and then hitting the ground and doing a barrel roll, and then hopping back up. And I guess that's probably to loosen them up. Get their body used to the feeling of
it's also
impact.
like 8:30 in the morning. You got to get the blood. You got to wake up.
Yeah, wake up. There's all sorts of things. But yeah, I'm just curious to see how they're just going to run drills. How much stuff will. Who knows? Maybe Kendall Briles like, I don't want to show anything. Maybe we won't be able to see the amount of passing that we saw with Walt and Willie. But yeah, I want to see how the offense. I just want to see how they're going to practice, man.
Sure, I'm with you. I steal your answer. I'll take that answer too.
All right. BC Knowles 16. I'm from a small town that has no famous people. Just to explain why I called Corey Clark Daddy last week, he often refers to himself as Daddy on this show and Seminole headlines.
Oh, well, okay, fair enough.
But, like, my buddy calls himself Daddy, but, like, I don't call him Daddy. So it was just weird to see. You know, I'm not going to be like, yo, Daddy, what are you doing tonight? You know?
Right. I mean, it was funny, though. It's fun when other people call me Daddy.
I'm not making fun of that. I cringed last week. I'm like, I don't like saying it. All right, since that's out the way, I'm on my way to get some dinner. Should I get McDonald's or Hardee's, and what should I get? I will sit in a parking spot and wait till you answer. Thanks.
Okay, so they listen to us during dinner.
I guess.
Yeah. So my go-to, neither one of these fine establishments sponsor us.
Right.
I would go to Hardee's and get their mushroom and Swiss burger. I get their mushroom and Swiss burger. It's a good burger. You can't get, but now McDonald's has a mushroom and Swiss that I saw on their little marquee. But I would never betray Hardee's like that. Otherwise, it's probably best to just avoid those establishments completely.
I remember, like, Hardee's started their whole thick burger campaign back when I was in college, and there was a Hardee's, like, I don't know, somewhere outside of Tallahassee, like a good 20-minute drive, and we all piled into our one buddy's expedition and, like, drove out there because they had, like, the $6 burger for, like, $2.99. Like,
right.
It's a $6 burger for $2.99, guys. We can't pass this up. It was actually pretty decent, but I'm a Big Mac guy, man.
When I was in college, the first college at Georgia Southern, they had the McDonald's there. I think it was every day, or it was either a couple days a week. They had 2 for $2, maybe 2 for $3, where you could get any of their 2 sandwiches for $3. So you could get a quarter pounder of cheese and a Big Mac for $3, or 2 Big Macs, or a Big Mac and a fish, whatever. So you could vary it up. You could go there every day and get something different. So it was like chess almost. You had to figure out, you don't want to just eat 2 Big Macs every day. You do a Big Mac and a quarter pounder, and then you do a fish and a chicken. And I kind of wonder why I gained 25 pounds my first year of college, being out on my own like that.
Were you a filet-o-fish guy? My dad would.
I love their filet. I mean, I haven't had one in a long time, but I used to love their filet of fishes.
My dad would just. I would
Except
get.
They throw so much tartar sauce on it. It's almost as if they're trying to anger you. Like, here's some fish with your tartar sauce. I mean, they drowned it in it.
Oh, we're about an hour into the program.
Okay.
We still got to talk about the basketball game, but we're sort of winding down. FSU 30606. Check out the zip code 30606. That's a Georgia zip code, isn't it?
I don't know.
Actually, he says it right here. Wake up, Bainbridge, Georgia, native, living in Portland, Oregon.
All right,
Woo!
man. Bainbridge to Portland. That's a rarely used pipeline.
Yeah, let us know how that went. A home to more legal pot-smoking Knowles than you would think. Bainbridge notables include former Brave Cub David Ross, James Butler, myself, and some kid I grew up with named Kirby Smart.
Yep, I think was Tay Cody from Bainbridge?
No, he's from Early County.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Blakely.
Yeah. That's right. Blakely. But I think Kirby's dad? No, I might be getting that wrong too. I think Kirby's dad might have been a head coach there or a coach there, but I could be wrong about that.
I think you might be right.
But Kirby was from there. Good safety at Georgia.
If you could grade the current 2019 offensive line class A to F, what would you give it? Now, fast forward and pretend it's February 6th, National Signing Day, and give it a new grade. How does this grade change for you? Quick hitter, factoring in all possibilities, transfers, etc. What are your predictions to who's under center opening day against Boise State in Jacksonville? Thanks for your hard work and laughs. Your show gives me the connection back to Tallahassee that I need being so far
There you go, Portland.
Awesome,
there you go, Portland. That's cool.
I mean, I'll give it a. I'll give like a.
They only got 2, right?
C+.
2 or 3. How many kids signed?
They got 3. They got the center from Miami Central, and then Dante Lucas, and then Jay Williams, the JUCO guy. I mean, he's going to swing the grade really. I mean, I think Dante Lucas is going to be a really good guard. Maybe even day one, which actually is a good thing because there's nothing there that's stable. I mean, you're going to have you need Cole Minshew to stay healthy.
Dickerson.
Yeah,
I guess he's a tackle. I don't know what they're going to do with
I'll
him.
give it a B minus just so people it makes you feel a little better. But I'll give it like a B minus.
I think a C is fair. Maybe even a C minus just because you didn't get. There were a couple kids you wanted, you didn't get.
If you got Will Putnam would have helped.
Yeah,
he's
some
a guy
big fish you wanted, you didn't get. But I also think it could get. I'm just more interested in the bodies. I mean,
right.
you obviously you want kids that you think are going to be good. You've got to get some depth, and you've got to give yourself some choices. Yeah. Where if you bring in 6 guys, if 3 of them end up being solid starters that can play, well then that's a really good class. Yeah. Even 2 or 3 out of a class is good. Of 6 is good. So we'll see. I think you can get it to a B depending on what they sign in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I saw some of the names that Michael Langston was throwing out there. I think a kid from Virginia, a kid from Illinois. I think the kid from Illinois has barely played any games. The kid from Virginia.
What, transfers you're talking about?
Yeah. A kid from Virginia, I think, started maybe 6 games, but he's been a guard. He's either been left, right guard. But again, I mean, like Corey said, you do need bodies. But golly, I'd like to see some tackles because I feel like
it's some talent, some NFL talent. You need it. You got to go find it. I know I just said you need bodies. But again, I'll always go back to that is the hardest position to evaluate, to develop, to know. That's why there's so few that are ranked 5 stars, because the people that do that for a living, you just don't know. You can't know. It's hard to predict how a kid in high school is going to turn into a college lineman. So you got to hope that you find some, quote unquote diamonds in the rough, and some of these guys end up being NFL players. You need it. You got to have all ACC type guys, and you got to have NFL guys if you want to compete with the big boy in your conference, because they always do.
I hope James Blackman's under center, but I'm going to keep just saying if he's not going to leave, then like what? If he started all last year, what is he going to do to give the job up?
I mean, yeah, we'll see.
WGW99, can we stop with the famous people part? Last week, someone claimed John Travolta was from Ocala. Another said John Cena was from Tampa. People are just making things up.
Is that true? Come on, people. Look, so now we're going to have to fact check you people. Come on now. Of course, we're not stopping with it. That's craziness.
Yeah, we're not.
But
Everyone let us know where you're from. Famous people.
Yeah, if there are any, most times.
And don't make it up, though.
Please don't make it up.
But John Cena's a wrestler, and I feel like all wrestlers at some point have real estate somewhere in Clearwater, Tampa Bay.
So John Travolta's not from Ocala? It seemed odd when they said it, but I thought maybe, well, that's a little weird. That's a weird trivia bit. He's from Ocala.
Can you do your Travolta impression real quick?
No. Yeah, he's from Inglewood, New Jersey, which makes a lot more sense than Ocala, Florida. Whoever did that, you're banned. We're going to go back and look. You're banned from ever asking another question. How dare you make fun of make us look like idiots? We do that perfectly fine ourselves.
Running Knoll, wake up! Changed my tune after watching the game. Happy for Clemson. Happy for Dabo. We will be back. We are Florida State. I have faith in Willie. Going to be an interesting couple of years playing against Trevor Lawrence. I guess unless you're Alabama, you need a really special quarterback to win it all. Looking forward to your takes on the game. Love the show. P.S. I'll be there for the Duke game.
Oh, awesome. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be there too.
She's out in Duval and she's in Tallahassee at everything, man. She's a fantastic fan, man. Great ambassador for the university. You do need a really good quarterback. I mean, Deshaun Watson was a special quarterback. Trevor Lawrence appears to be a special quarterback. That's a nice equalizer. It is,
and Florida State hasn't had one of those in a while. So it'd be nice if they got one. I don't think you need I don't think you need the number 1 overall pick, or a top 5 or top 10. I don't know where Deshaun Watson was picked, but he was a first-round pick. Yeah. I don't think you need a top 10, 15 first-round quarterback to win a national title. But it really, really helps, and it puts a Band-Aid on things that otherwise are exposed wounds.
I mean, we say that, but think of like from the BCS era and through the playoff. I mean, Tebow, whoever, LSU, Matt Mock, Matt Flynn, Alabama, obviously. But, like Clemson's had really special guys. Florida State had Jameis. Auburn had Cam Newton. Ohio State, who was Ohio? Was it Braxton Miller? When they won at 14? Cardell Jones, right. He was the third string guy. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it does help. And by and large, the teams with the best quarterbacks, with great a great quarterback makes a team really good, and it can also be vice versa too. A great team can make a quarterback look better than they really are. But yeah, man, it helps. It'd be nice to have a transcendent one again, a guy that can really play. An All-American caliber quarterback is really, really fun to have.
TDT_55. I may be wrong, but I believe the defense is better and has more talent than most fans believe. I agree they could have played better, but when your offense goes 3 and out over and over and are never ahead when it comes to the field position battle, you're going to give up points. The offense and special teams put pressure on the defense. If the offense improves, I expect us to have a great defense again next year. Maybe I'm too optimistic. What do you think?
Probably a little too optimistic, in my opinion, to call it great, but I think they can be much better, and I do think that is something that people don't think about or really compute. But when your offense does go 3 and out a lot, again, I also think it's about a mindset thing. Like, I know they're not supposed to. You shouldn't. I get it. You should play hard no matter how well no matter how well the offense is playing. Knowing that, okay, if they're already up 10-0, we're not going to win this game because our offense is so bad. That shouldn't affect you, but we're also all human beings, and it does. Mm-hmm. And if you know when a team gets up 21-7 that you can't win the game, it affects the way you play. And when they keep getting the ball at your 45, because you always start your first drive at the 8, so you have to punt out of your own end zone literally almost every game to start it, and then you're always down right away, it changes the whole mindset of a football team. So, yeah, a better offense. Maybe I want to see how the defense plays with a lead. Yeah. They didn't have one at all the whole year, really, when you think about it. They played well against Wake Forest with the lead.
Miami.
I thought they played well against Miami with the lead until my man kept fumbling the ball or turning it over at his 20.
Point. Very good point.
When they had a lead, it was a different looking
Other
defense.
than Kyle Myers.
Other than Kyle Myers.
He had a rough one against Miami.
He did, but what are you going to do, man? They made some great,
I agree.
Great
I think
catches.
there's probably more talent on the defense than there is the offense. What concerns me, though, is that the defensive coordinator's specialty is cornerbacks and just the whole in phase, out of phase. We don't know when to turn around. When we do turn around, we don't know where to. That was concerning, but that's a technique thing. It's not a lack of talent or ability thing. It needs to get drilled, I guess, a little further, and hopefully, 15 more spring practices and another field trip to IMG.
But yeah, they're going to have. I think I counted them up the other day. They're going to have 4 5-star DBs in their secondary, right? With Taylor back. I mean, I know that was 4 years ago that he was a 5-star, but he was. Stanford Samuels is an NFL player. And I really like the other guy, Asante Samuel, too, and then Akeem Dent's coming in. So you have real talent, man.
He's the one true freshman, I would say, that it's going to be tough to maybe break that line because there is so much talent there, but he's a guy that I think he comes in day one, and that's a guy I'll definitely want to keep my eye on and see how legitimate he is. FSU Knoll MC12. Wake up! Finally listen to you guys and join warchant.com. I hope you both get a cut or something because you're 100% right. If you're a Florida State fan, you have to be on War Channel. You're missing out.
Was this you that wrote that? Who is that?
FSU Knoll MC12, man.
There you go, MC12.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate that.
Listen to every show and really enjoy the passion and joy you bring to the show. Again, it's crazy. This guy likes it, and then other guys are like, man, you're so, it's crazy how people are. Man.
You know what? You can't make everybody happy, obviously.
You cannot. From St. Joseph, Missouri, birthplace of Eminem and former Kansas State coach Bill Snyder.
Wait a second, man. Eminem is from Detroit.
Yeah, we're
not. Hey guys, come on now, come on. There's no way Eminem was born in St. Joseph's, Missouri.
I shouldn't have read that. That was my bad.
They've hijacked the show.
My question to you both is: you think that if in 2 years, when Kendall Briles has his offense rolling and he gets his own head coaching position elsewhere, do you think Willie will take back over the offense?
Oh, wait. He was born in St. Joseph's, Missouri. Eminem was, according to his Wikipedia.
Yeah, show respect to FSU Knoll MC12.
I apologize, guys. This is the blueprint you want to follow. My man MC12.
Yeah.
Is that who we're talking to right now?
Yeah. He
was right. And Eminem is a great. He's from St. Joseph's, Missouri, this guy?
Well, a lot of people are born somewhere and then leave after a
No,
month.
I'm saying, but the MC12
is where he says.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah.
Who would have known that? All right, anyway,
I think St. Joseph, Missouri is also like one of the smallest media markets in the country. I think like market 201. I remember looking at a job out there, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. But then again, I live in Dothan, so hey, I'm not trying to knock on St. Joseph represent. My question again, 2 years, Kendall Briles, offense rolls, gets his own head coaching position elsewhere. Does Willie take back over the offense and call plays? Since he'll have a full cycle of his players for his system in place.
Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting. I mean, the systems aren't that different, right? I mean, I think Briles just runs his better, maybe you could say, and maybe not so as run-heavy. But the
Briles system is the Briles system. Willie's is sort of a derivative, so it's
right. But
taking
they're
like
all
a picture.
Yeah, but they're all derivative. They're all basically the same thing, right? They're not a ton of different plays or different concepts.
But they're like his family's the Godfather.
No, yeah, but I'm saying they're not crazy different concepts.
Right.
It's not radically different. Okay. So I guess that could be a possibility. I would just imagine, say the next 2 years, Florida State wins 8 games, then 11 games. It averages 36 points a game. It becomes the second best team in the conference. Becomes a top 10 team nationally. Kendall Briles gets the head coaching job wherever Lane at FAU or something or Houston. Willie's going to say, "All right, now I'm going back to calling plays." Forget what 2018 happened. We're in a different place.
Yeah, they would be in a different place though. Got that positive momentum. His players are in place. His culture is installed.
They do. I don't know if the Florida State fan base would be all that receptive to that after what we saw. But again, maybe the offensive line is in a place where it really – I mean, I would think you maybe promote from within somebody else that's on staff that's helped it.
I would think he would see the benefits of not having
doing
to do
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
yeah,
right,
you don't want your head coach after success to go jump back into calling plays again all the time. I would think that would be my –
Mark Richt.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that didn't work out, weirdly.
Can you believe he retired, though? I mean, that was so abrupt.
I mean, it was odd. But, yes, I can. It was odd that he went there when he went there. He needed to take at least a few years off after Georgia. He was not ready to go into that cesspool.
C. Baxley, 1212. Aslan, Corey, great show. Love you guys. Keep to the grind. The comment about a Florida State player crying after the Samford game kept me laughing all day. Wake up, guys. 2 quick questions. Thinking about how many championships FSU would have won if the college football playoff was around back in the 90s. In that note, if Charlie was at Florida State, his senior season was 2019. What round is he drafted in the NFL draft?
Charlie Ward.
Yeah, first round. Today, in this day and age, absolutely first round.
Charlie Ward? Yeah, no, he was. I'm trying to think. He didn't have an incredible arm. He wasn't Mahomes like that. And he was 6'1". So I don't know if his measurables would have kept him from being a first-round pick. Because, if you want to compare him to other mobile guys, like a Mayfield, you could compare him to Baker Mayfield. I think Mayfield might have a little stronger arm.
A little cleaner.
But man, Charlie Ward was every bit the passer. He threw incredible passes. He had touch. He had feel in the pocket. He was a blessed quarterback that made $100 million being an okay NBA point guard.
And the question rooted in reality. With an easier schedule and Kendall Briles on staff, other than being able to actually block, what does Florida State have to do to win 10 games this year, if it's even possible after a 5-7 year? I mean, with the pieces that we have put in place, is that all we have to do? Block. My hometown's Elton, Alabama, home of the former Mrs. America, Heather Whitestone, member of the Fab Four, receiving corps Lawrence Dawsey, and most notably the temporary residents of Aslan and Javandi.
There you go. That is most notable.
You're right,
Definitely
man.
Most notable.
Shout out, Steve Axley.
Do they have a sign going into Dothan yet that you used to live there?
I know. I wish. That'd be kind of cool. What do they have to do to get 10 wins? I mean, I kind of wish I had that schedule pulled up in front of me.
Have you ever
get one of those fluky years? You want to make a joke? Go ahead.
I didn't. I was thinking about the signs when you go into these small towns. Right. Would you ever drive to Moultrie, Georgia? Have you ever been up there?
Yeah, I drive to Atlanta, pass through Moultrie. So, how do you? By the way, real quick, how do you get to Atlanta from here? Like my map.
I go up through Moultrie and then I go to.
Do you take the bypass in Thomasville? Or do you just keep going up 319 the whole time through like downtown?
I take the bypass. I don't go through downtown Thomasville.
Okay.
I go around it because I'm always worried I'm gonna get stuck by from a train. They have trains going through there. But then I go up to, I don't know, I go to Tifton. So I take that right and go to Tifton and get on 75 there just so I can avoid deer.
Okay.
And I can drive faster on 75 than I can on, those 55-mile roads. But when you go into Moultrie, I think it's still there. I've probably driven past it probably 800 times in my life. It's the home of, I think the guy's name is Jimmy Bryant, the fastest guitarist in the country.
I think this, yes. I believe I remember seeing this, yes.
What in the world does that even mean?
I don't know.
Do they run sprints, like with a guitar on his back? Or is his fingers the fast?
He's got magic fingers like Eddie Van Halen,
Who measures that? The fastest guitarist in the country. Jimmy. And there's been famous people that have come through Moultrie. Ray Goff, famous Ray Goff, the Georgia coach from way back when, was from Moultrie.
Cam Irving.
Cam Irving's from Moultrie. He might be a Super Bowl champ. And we can't get Jimmy Bryant's name off the Welcome to Moultrie sign. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
What do they have to do to win 10 games this year?
It'd have to be something fluky. I just
can't.
This
defense has to go on to some sort of crazy turnover binge where they're creating more turnovers. They're scooping and scoring on them. I mean, I guess it's maybe not that far-fetched, right? They got the ball on the ground so many times. They just never picked it up. And, I don't know, maybe get some more tip passes. You need one of those weird things to happen. DJ Matthews showed flashes in the first half of the season of being able to kind of flip field position or at least, give a really big boost to the team with the way he returned the ball. So, maybe get some more out of your special teams. The defense start creating more turnovers. And, you have this offense in place and you're expecting to have improved offensive line play. I don't want to grade it at anything, but it's going to be improved. And you got a kid out there who seems like he's totally dialed in and all about the team. And I think a lot of folks in that locker room, despite the fact that they also defend Deondre, probably recognize that there's something different about, James's effort and his dedication to things. So, maybe some of that romanticism of football and team and the intangible esoteric stuff can kind of start swirling around the team. But I don't know. I mean, I almost need to pull up the schedule here. I mean, I don't want to get sucked into the make a win-loss prediction in the month of January for the season, but I mean everything comes down to that Boise game, I would think, man.
I mean, much like I thought, and it did. This past season came down to Virginia Tech. It just got everything off on the wrong foot. That's a game you should have won. You lost. If you lose to Boise, you're 0-1 again. Then again, you're just stuck in the mud. There's no momentum at all for this program. No good feelings at all for this program. Yeah. So Jimmy Bryant, I did look him up. By the way, he died in 1980. He is from Moultrie. He was only 55. He died of lung cancer, and he served in World War II. Went to L.A., played at L.A., played in Nashville.
By the way, really off topic, but I went to and saw a movie the other night. The guy who did Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, whatever, unearthed like 100 hours of World War I video. They're doing some huge documentary that's coming out in December, dude. The trailer for
coming out in December?
Yeah.
So 11 months from now?
Yeah, they hyped it. Dude, I got goosebumps. I'm not a big war movie kind of guy, but it was literally like footage from World War I that was enhanced and colorized, and it was amazing. Because they're talking about, like, I don't know, it's amazing.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, there we go.
Be on the lookout for that. Last question. You ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Then we talk about hoops. Rowdy Knoll. Hey, fellas. I lived in a dozen of places, so I'm not really from anywhere. My parents were journalists, so I'm sure you both understand my pain. But I have for the past 7 years or so resided in the greater Tampa Bay area, home to the one and probably only Aslan Hajavandi.
There you go.
Actually, man, I really think there's another Aslan Hajavandi out there. I think there is. Anyhow, there's other famous people from the Bay Area, too, as Rowdy Knoll says. Anyway, my question is this.
Like John Cena.
Bam. What were the most daunting challenges as journalists in covering Florida State's first losing season in decades? The business model is sort of predicated, in my opinion, on the program's success, i.e. you don't see a lot of coverage for historically bad teams. I can imagine it was difficult, to say the least, to create entertaining content about a team that was not particularly entertaining to watch.
Sure, that's fair. My biggest challenge was, and I didn't do a good job of it, was I do like telling stories. I like doing features on kids and where they come from and how they got here and you know, anything just about them, like personality profile kind of things. But man, when you're losing every week, I just, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know that people really want to read the feel-good story about this guy or that guy when you're getting your brains beat in. Maybe at a newspaper it's different than a team-specific website, but that was one thing I wish I'd still done, even if I didn't think people would click on it or read it or care about it, because that is a challenge. There's, when we wrote a book, the Democrat produced a book for the championship team, and there were like 3 or 4 of my stories in there. I wrote one on Brian Stork. He somehow felt that he actually talked to me, which was crazy. Telvin Smith, I really liked that one too. And it was like 30-minute interviews, just one-on-one. And I almost didn't even feel the need to do it, to even ask, because it's like, why am I going to do this? Who would I even write on? Marvin and Tamori and Terry, is that it? I mean, there's nobody else. Burns, maybe.
We tried, man. You tried.
Yeah, but it's hard not to get caught up in all the negativity. And look, you can't sugarcoat things. No, nobody's going to respect that or read that. You can't sugarcoat things and say, "Hey guys, it's okay." But you don't have to get swallowed up by the negativity either, and only write or almost even pander to the people that are so negative all the time, because they had a right to be negative. But what are you bringing to it if you're just going to keep writing, negative stuff over and over? So hopefully we won't have to do that anymore. It's the first, look, man, it was also the first time I ever had to do it. It's the first time I ever, as a columnist, had to cover a bad football team. And it had been 2 years of it, really. So it's just, I got kind of, I don't know, you just kind of run out of ways to say the same thing. So hopefully this year, when they win 10 games, I'll be writing a lot more positive, upbeat stories. But that is a challenge, to not get kind of swallowed up in the negativity.
Yeah, I think I did. I'm not going to apologize for it.
That's us, though, talking. I was just talking specifically about.
Yeah, well, I'm always talking about as a journalist. I mean, this is the people try to denigrate what I do by calling me like the video guy or whatever. But I mean, on a day-to-day basis, this takes up more of my time than doing any sort of video is
right.
Doing the show. The crazy thing is, you guys made my job easier because you guys love the 20-minute raw videos from practice. I mean, it took no effort for me to do. I just sit there and just film wide-angle football and put together in a video, and 10,000 of you watch it. When I put together like a slickly produced, I did like a 2-minute video like after the first day of spring, this like quick thing set to music, like all like build some hype, and it was just like meh.
Yeah.
I want to see the ball being handed off to the running back. I'm like, and then Gene's like, dude, they like it better. I'm like, that's not fulfilling to me. That's not a good product, I don't think. He's like, that's what they like. And I'm like, all right, well, that's what we're going to do. I mean, it made my job easier. I didn't particularly like it. I mean, my whole thing, I wanted to like try to do some cool creative things about, just stuff editing video,
Sure.
But anyhow.
But anyway, the point being, I was thinking about that this week with all the people that I follow on Twitter that are out in California for a week, which I didn't really miss that, to be honest with you.
Really bad weather. And apparently a whole bunch of them got robbed at In-N-Out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no. But so I do miss that a little bit, that everything you write when you're covering a good team, I do think it's absorbed more. People want to read that kind of stuff, and when the team is 5-7, they have and again, maybe I'm wrong, or completely wrong. They don't really want to read the positive story about the really good player when you're 5-7. They want to read, or at some point 2-5, whatever. It's
got to be incredible. Like, it's got to be a really incredible story for when your team is 5
and that
6.
doesn't mean I shouldn't have gone and searched for one and found one, but I didn't. I just continued. I'd write what we were seeing, and hopefully next year and the year after that, we'll be writing a lot more positive stories.
Shout out to Ira, though. That story he did on Isaiah Prowse Lackey before the Florida game on Senior Day was really well done. Really well done. On the flip side, what are the storylines you find most interesting heading into the spring, and what signs of optimism do you see for next season? Go Noles, Rowdy Noles. The optimism again, just Kendall Briles, man.
New offense, better offense, you hope.
Maybe new quarterback.
Maybe new quarterback. And maybe you some of the
and
people.
it's got to be a better offensive line. I mean,
all that, yeah.
Hard to
and again,
worse.
you want to keep climbing to where you need to get culture-wise. You're not there yet, but you want to keep making that climb, and maybe ridding some people in the locker room. Maybe they're not around anymore, and that makes the locker room a better place. It gets you to the point where somebody's literally crying out of joy because you've won a big game, because of what it means to the program and the family and the community, as opposed to crying because you lost by 50 points.
The only storyline I would say is, does Willie have to learn anything or relearn anything by not being the play caller anymore? Like, it's going to be a new sort of challenge, if you will. I mean, he's still obviously making a decision. Are we going to punt? Are we going to call a trick play when you're calling the plays, or if you're not calling the plays? But, like, his ability to communicate to these guys what he's seeing so that not only the players,
or how
but the coaches.
Bowden said he doesn't coach the players, he coaches the coaches. Yeah. That's what Willie will have to get to. And what will that relationship be like with Briles? Because, again, I don't think Briles looks at this as like a career starter. His path was already going the way he wanted it to. So I don't think he's going to be as beholden as maybe Walt Bell would have been to Willie Taggart. I think, I don't know if heads bump, but there will be some of that, I think. It's just natural. Two guys with egos, two offensive guys. How much does Kendall take that from Willie? How much does Willie give that to Kendall? All that stuff is stuff you got to learn on the job.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't read every question this time, Corey, but we still were a nice, robust hour and 20.
Let me get out of here.
All right. We got to talk about the basketball game, though.
Oh, sure.
We'll do that right after this. Wake Up War Chant.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.
All right, welcome back. Finally, an hour and a half. You hung it tight. Appreciate it, everybody. Florida State hung tough against Miami, Corey. 68-62 victors. 1-1 in ACC play. That was big, man. It's still Miami. I know they don't have a full complement of guys on scholarship and all that kind of stuff, but to have it sandwiched between Virginia and Duke, a big win for the Noles.
Yeah, Virginia and Duke, and then also 2 road games next week, and it's just never a gimme. And the one of them is at Pitt, who beat Louisville on Wednesday night. So again, Boston College can play a little bit. I mean, you can never assume road wins, and then when you have Duke coming up, you certainly can't assume that win. I mean, you can beat Duke. Duke's beatable, but you're going to have to play better than you did against Miami. But, yeah, to sneak away – I don't want to sneak that win away. They were up by 13 with 6 minutes to go.
They were out to cover. They're never going to cover. I don't think they're ever going to cover this season.
Yeah,
if you're interested in that kind of stuff,
then
people.
Miami cut it down to 2. And then I guess Terrence Mann, I thought it was Trent Forrest, but Terrence Mann got credit for it. The putback with about 25 seconds left to put them up 4. MJ Walker hit 2 big free throws, and they win the game. And it's almost like at this point, you just got to stack wins when you can get them. Mm-hmm. They did so well in the non-conference season that they can afford some losses in the ACC and still make the tournament. But you can't really afford losing at home to Miami. Short-handed Miami, only 7 scholarship players, 8 and 6 coming in, lost to 2 Ivy League schools. So that was Florida State did not play well. That's 2 games, really 3 games in a row where they've struggled and not play well, going back to the Winthrop game. But as Leonard Hamilton likes to say, it's always good to win even when you don't play well, when you still got room to grow.
Just another ACC blowout.
Yep, and they're not taking any bows.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just think with coming off that Virginia game, having Duke, just lurking like that to come out and win the game, and then, turn it on kind of when you had to, and then, I don't know, maybe they started kind of thinking, all right, we got this in the bag, thinking a little bit about Zion, and then, Miami sneaks back into it, but then they put the hammer back down on them. So
Yeah, I got a couple stops when they needed it. Crazy game, too, with all the fouls. That was that kind of took Florida State out of what it gave Miami a bunch of. I think Miami hit 5 shots in the first half, but still had 27 points because of all the free throws.
29.
29 points, and I think they were 5 or 6 baskets in the first half. I mean, they didn't shoot well at all in the first half, but they still were only down 4. PJ Savoy hit a couple big threes, which was good to see. Terrence Mann hit one from the corner.
PJ Savoy.
You can't. I mean, against good teams, you just can't miss 23-pointers. I mean, you can't go 6 of 26 and win a game. If they go, if they shoot just 10 or 11 of 26, which isn't great by any stretch. 11 to 26 is pretty good. But if you do that, you're winning by 14, 15 points. And that will happen with this team. There will be games like this. We've seen them already where they're going to miss a bunch of threes. They were 3 of 20 at one point. But there will also be games where they hit almost half of them, and they can beat anybody in the country when they do that.
Real quick, what are your thoughts on having Trent Forrest and David Nichols out there together? It feels like if Trent doesn't have the ball in his hands, how much is he creating stuff right now? It doesn't feel like is that ever going to be part of his game. It feels like he needs the ball in his hands and he needs to penetrate to produce for this team.
Yeah, but it's also I think right now, as you'd say, Nichols is probably their best, most consistent shooter. Okay. So I think Forrest will have the ball in his hands and he's got somebody else to kick out to. A guy that gave them a big. Nichols gave them a big spark in that game against Miami. So I think that's the thinking there. Also against Miami, because their best player is 5'7". You can't have a bunch of 6'6" guys out there trying to guard him. David Nichols did a good job on likes, I thought. He's turning into the guy we thought he was when he got here. That's another solid game for him. I don't know if they win this game without him. He's a nice complement. He's a good role player, and also. Man, I'll say this. I don't know the timetable for a turf toe injury, but Trent Forrest has turf toe, and sometimes that can linger for a while.
Uh-huh.
And if he hasn't practiced in about a week and a half, they need to get him right and feeling 100% because he's probably their best player. Right now, he's not that guy. I think he's hit 1 basket in the last 2 games total.
He was 1 of 7 last night.
Yeah, and then against Virginia, he didn't hit a shot. They need him. And, look, he's never going to be a 20-point-a-game guy, but he needs to be able to get to the basket and create. And he didn't play a ton, so maybe that helped. He won't practice Thursday or Friday, but you're going to need everyone to play, most everyone to play well to have a shot on Saturday.
Yeah, well, that's what I asked Raekwon Gray after the game. I'm like, how do you beat Duke? He's like, you just got to try to wear him down. It's like they're going to play 7 guys. We play 11. We just got to wear them down and do what we do. So we'll see. It'll be crazy here. I think it's going to be a really good atmosphere. I thought the Miami game, I thought it was a pretty good atmosphere for late.
No, the crowd, man, the crowd has done great here for like 2 or 3 years, really. It's been a really tough place to play. Obviously, they win here a lot. And they just, the students do a great job. And I don't, you're hearing these prices for the secondary market on StubHub and places for the Duke game, and I've never heard of prices like this for a Florida State basketball game. Part of that is obviously Florida State is good. Part of it is it's Duke, and then the other factor is Zion. I mean, that's just a guy that it's kind of a once in a generation type guy that you people feel like they have to go see, and that's going to be really interesting how he handles this because this will be his first real road game in the ACC. Wake Forest doesn't count because they're so much better than Wake. Florida State will run a lot of bodies at him and have a lot of guys at the rim. Let's see how he handles that because he hasn't seen anything quite like that. And I want to see which one of the guys tries to dunk one of his or tries to block one of his dunks. Kabengele, I know, has it in him to try.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's going to get it done. Kumaji might end up on a poster, or he might block it with two hands, man. I don't know. I don't know if Zion's ever dunked on a 7'4" guy. But those two guys, Kumaji and Kabengele, will not back down from him for sure. So the whole thing, it's just going to be a really exciting game. Win or lose, it's a really good test for Florida State.
How are the Hawks doing in terms of tanking for him?
Not great. Not great. They won 5 out of 6 during one stretch. They're 3 games out of the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah, they're not. They don't understand what they're trying to do.
All right, man. By the way, programming update. We're not going. Michael and myself are not going to do a recruiting chat on Thursday, as I said earlier in the show. We're going to do it next Wednesday. Apparently, the recruiting folks, they're big on Wednesday because it's the first Wednesday of February is signing day, so they want to keep it doing the recruiting chat on Wednesday. So we didn't do it this week, obviously, because of the game. We won't have a recruiting chat at all. Next week, Michael and I will do it. Did you have any final thoughts on Deondre that we didn't talk about in the first segment? Anything that came to your mind?
No, I can't wait.
Yeah.
No, I just can't wait to get geared up for another season, baby.
Yeah. So
going to be an interesting QB battle. I don't think it's a given.
Yeah. All right, folks. So that's it for us. Be on the lookout. We're going to drop something for Friday. We're going to get Terrell Buckley on the show, talk to T-Buck, see if we can call him T-Buck if he likes that. I don't know. Maybe we'll try to see if he's interested in coming back to Tallahassee. We'll see how that all goes. Thanks for listening. This was a long one.
Love you guys.
And shout out to Dan. Dan was here at the game. He says my girlfriend's at the game. I went up to say hi to her, and then he was talking to me about things. Says he listens to the show. He didn't commit to the fact he listens to it every day, but says he listens to the show, likes you a lot, likes the show. So shout out to Dan.
Obviously, I hope he likes you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I was there, I think.
Sure.
So.
Dan, we like you too, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.